Welcome to the Circus Restaurant, celebrating food seasonality and the story behind some of the best producers in the UK. I'm sat here today next to Richard Bertinet on table 10. Richard's a master baker. He has a bakery. You don't like it?
Master baker.
You've got to say it very slowly. Master baker.
Just baker.
Richard's a fantastic baker. His bread is sold all the best cafes, shops, farm shops, restaurants in and around Bath, and indeed further afield. He has multiple cafes, he's the author of several books, and he's got his own cookery school here in Bath, so it's a real honour to have him here. So look him up, or even better, just watch our video. Then it's quicker that way, isn't it?
Good.
Good. Thanks a lot. So what we're interested here at the circus is when we bring all of these suppliers in and these fantastic business people who sell their fantastic food and drinks, is we're interested in the story behind it all. And so we're going to go way back, Richard, and if I may,
How far back?
we're going to go way back. And so in your own words, where did it all begin?
I was crap at school, so that's where it started. Where I had to work. So when I was 14. I realised that school was not for me, so I had to do something with my hands.
Yep.
So there was a big blackboard with a lot of different jobs as a kind of school kiddie stuff, and then every year I had to pick a job, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. The last job left was baker, so I became a baker. And I went to do a night in a bakery when I was 14, and the smell, the everything just made me fall in love with it. And going to the bakery every morning, my local bakery, I used to go and pick up the bread there. I could see the bakers working at the back, and that was very exciting. And one day I found myself behind that door working, and that was a nightmare.
Yeah,
it was so hard. So,
it was harder than it looked.
Yeah, of course. When you start working, when you're 14, working full time, it looks exciting. But you do your first shift. It was not 8 hours. You do 10, 12 hours, and you work out with older men. So you learn the rope very quickly.
My daughter's 10,
and
she will have a lie-in on a Saturday until 11 o'clock.
Yeah, no, I never had a lie-in.
No.
I think the first when I started it was about 4 o'clock. That was late. And that's for the first few months. And after I was starting about 2 o'clock in the morning. So you couldn't go out. All my friends were we did apprenticeship at the time. They become mechanic. They become 9 to 5 job.
Yep.
So they used to party every Friday, Saturday, come to knock on the door at 2 o'clock in the morning of the bakery to buy some croissants. I was there working for about 3 hours before they even, and then they went to bed.
Yeah.
When I finished work, they just wake up and go out again. I'm like, oh my God.
If you had to pinpoint it to one moment in time for you where you thought, there's a future in this for me, I'm interested in this bread baking and I want to take it further, would you be able to pinpoint one sort of moment in time? Or?
I think when you work in a bakery, it's a variety of things. You there, the smell, everything. It becomes your job. And on those days if you're not very bright at school, you have to do something different. So when I started working with my hand, feeling the dough with my hand and the feeling of it never leaves you. It becomes like a drug.
Right.
So it's taking my first lot of baguette out of the oven. When they're all perfect, when you start cutting them. And I still get the same excitement now than when I was 14, 15 doing it. So it never leaves you. I think it's like a chef. When you're in there, you immerse yourself into it, and you find little pleasure every day doing something. So it's
a collection of things for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And as a baker, when I grew up, there was a guy called Lionel Poilâne. He was very famous in England, in New York. He's got a bakery in Paris, and he died. And I was so glad I managed to meet him a couple of times before he died. And his daughter came and do a class with us, and she's a great baker, amazing baker. But I always look at the way he did things. Right? His bread was always very simple, but he was a genius not making good bread, but he knew how to sell his bread.
Right.
So many people are great chefs, they're great or great bakers, or great charcutier, or great butcher, or great cheesemaker. But if you can't sell it, it's very hard. And in France, you see a lot of little producers who are making the best of everything, and they just produce a tiny bit. They just do it because they love doing it. But he was a guy who really made me understand that actually, if you make good stuff, you'll be able to sell it and get to, and work on your brand as well. He wrote a few books, and when I read the way he felt when you work in a bakery at 14, 15, it's the way I felt. It's some of the sentence. It just, unless you work in that bakery, the way you feel about it, the love of the job and the hatred of the job sometimes. You got to have the both extremities sometimes. So it's always been an inspiration.
I was looking at your some of your YouTube videos and some of the comments. You've got a lot of love out there for the videos that you've already got online, and I noticed a lot of the comments on those videos with people saying, this is so therapeutic to watch and it relaxes me. I think there was one lady who said she just likes to run along Bath, turn all of her lights off, and just at the end of a stressful day, just watch you manipulating this dough and watch you kneading it.
I know it's
but is it still that relaxing ritual for you when you?
I think if you watch a craftsman. It can be somebody doing. I watch very simple example. If you look a good plasterer, somebody who do plastering, it looks so bloody damn easy. You try to do it, you make a big mess. And when you learn skill, and we forget where skill comes from. How to use your hand. Your hand are a tool. So you got to use them to master what you do. You got to understand how things work, but then it's to respect it. Your finger give you feels and stuff. And most people see my hand working and they just don't see that actually there's a lot of things going on. You see a magician, somebody who trick people with their hands. It's a skill. If you look at the golfer, it's not just hitting the ball, there's so much more into it. Fly fishing, look at fly fisher. I can do this, you try it, you make a big mess. So it's something you do all the time. My first job when I worked in the bakery, my boss was waiting for me in the morning. He said, "You ready?" And he used to chuck a big lump of dough in my hand, and the dough was like, it's stick everywhere. He said to me, "Show the loose boss" in French, And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, if the dough stick to you all the time, you can't work with it. So you got to learn to understand it. It's like a language." And after 3 or 4 days, I understand that it never gave me sticky. I made it sticky. So there's a top, there's a bottom, there's a way of touching the dough. When you master that, you're fine. If you fear the dough all the time, the dough is there to laugh at you. So you got to understand your ingredients. But if you teach people how to fillet fish, you don't give them a sea bass to start with. You don't put the pressure on them. You use macro and just it's a gradual thing. But people they can't make a white dough and they want to make sourdough. There's less ingredient but more complicated. It's a step by step by step by step. I put a video of me touching panettone dough and making it. It's 1.5 million people watching it. Like, why? There's something dough does to people. And we've had hundreds of emails of people, with Amy, with people with their grandchildren being autistic, and they make dough, and the kids, I was in tears when I read that grandmother who came, and she said, I dream of one thing is having a hug for my grandson. She told me the story, she spent a week with us. I said, when you go home, just make some dough, don't say anything, he can't talk, he can't communicate, never give any physical thing. She makes some dough, and apparently the kid came, put his hand with her, and didn't talk, nothing. They make bread together, took his hand out, wash his hand, and give her a big hug. Really? And for her, that changed her whole life. So every Saturday, they make bread together. They don't talk, she gets a hug every Saturday. And for her, the grandmother, it makes such a big difference. And if bread can do that to people, it's phenomenal. So I'm not a therapist at all, but it's part of what I do. If you add something to people, if you just give a bit of pleasure, now we send bread to Afghanistan on the green zone on a Apache helicopter, special boxes of bread.
You're joking?
No. But letters from all over the place, So
that's brilliant.
There's a lot of things we do for charities. We don't talk about it, but it does a lot of things to people. You made bread before?
Oui.
Yeah. You speak French as well?
Un petit peu.
Un peu tout. It's the clever one and the pretty one, yeah. I like it. Very good. Right. Okay. So we make some fougasse. Have you heard of fougasse before? Do you know what a fougasse is? No. That's why you speak French.
Sorry, chef.
So the fougasse is this one here. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Then we see some small fougasse. And cut it in half. Triangle. So far, so good?
Yep.
Yeah? Good. And then cut it. So cut on the middle. cut inside the little triangle there. Okay.
What was what was attractive to you about opening up a cookery school in Bath, as opposed to coming from a chef's background, opening up a restaurant or a cafe or something similar to that? Where did you go with that?
I met my wife in London, and she was a lawyer there. And when I was running, I was a director for a restaurant company. We had 4 restaurants in London, 1 in South Africa and 1 in France, and we opened everything in 2.5 years. It was just crazy. I never slept, It was just crazy days, and it's good. I learned a lot, but I knew I don't wanted to open a restaurant again, and my love for baking was still there. And I remember teaching a bread class in London by pure chance, and I realized I could teach.
All right.
So it was like a revelation.
Yeah.
So I did another class, and then I started to go back into my baking roots and just see how things were done in here, and the way people were making bread in here didn't make sense at all to me. Right. So I started to have the idea for a book. So I wrote a book, and at the same time we looked for a business idea, and the cooking school idea came up. So we looked at the map where we wanted to live, Bath ticked all the boxes.
Yeah.
So off we went, and my book came out on the same time as the cooking school. And books, we sold probably more than 500,000 copies now in 30 countries and 17 languages, from Japanese to Russian to everything. It still sells a lot now, and people come from all over the world to the school. So it's been a gradual learning curve. The cooking school, if you go back 12 years ago, was not very fashionable. It's more like a long, you go for a cooking school for 6 weeks or long courses. And I thought there was a business outside of London where you could do short courses and learn and come. So the idea to be in Bath would drag people from all over the place, all over the world now, to come to stay in Bath, enjoy Bath, a bit of cooking, a bit of learning. The school worked very well for it's still working now, but 6 years ago I started to open a bakery at the top of the cooking school, just on Saturday. And when the word came around, when we went to the first Saturday, there was a queue outside all the way. And I looked at it and I said, what have I done now? Because I knew I don't wanted to put a bakery, because I know how much hard work I have to put into it. And then we opened the door, rush in, and 9 o'clock we sold out. So everybody started whinging. Like, you don't realize how much work it is. So we knew then we started to open something. So it just became mad.
So for the people watching, your bakery essentially, you had the cooking school on the ground floor, right? And we're gonna link up a clip of us, some of our staff going over to Richard's cookery school. He teaches us how to make a fougasse. Have I said that right? Fougasse. Loaf, and we've been learning how to bake. And what happened was so many of your customers, right, or people who had read your book or heard about you from one way or another, constantly coming up to the cookery school saying, we want to buy some of this bread. We do as much as we want to go on the courses and learn, but we want to get that bread every week in our kitchens for us to eat every morning. And so it was the demand that drove you to open up the bakery.
To the bakery to what it is now with 95 people. It's grown like a big monster. But with bread, if you want to make a living out of it, you need to make volume. So it's about have a good balance between your retail business and also your wholesale business. From baking on Friday night, a few sourdoughs and a lot of almond croissants. Now we're doing down on the bloody thing. So.
It's fair to say it's really, really grown, and it's incredibly successful and interesting business. This man's incredibly busy, and really happy to get him here. But how did you manage all of that growth? Because now you have the cafes, the bakery, the cookery school, the books. You've got various consultancy. How do you manage, or how have you managed all of that growth over the last sort of decade?
I think it's layers. So when you master one layer, it's a good foundation. You put another one on top. So as long as your foundation are dead solid, whatever you build on top, if it doesn't work and fall over, you can always replace it or do something else. But your foundation will be strong, so you need strong people around you. So my wife is like the boss, really. I'm the front hand, but she's the boss. She keeps things together. And I think with the business, I always give the analogy when I do talks. It's about to keep all the sheep going on the same line. If you've got a straight line going up, it's perfect. But if you leave one of them going 1 degree out, the 1 degree won't show straight away. But after 2 or 3 weeks, they'll be there. It's very hard to get back into line. So you've got to keep your eyes and keep everybody just there all the time, all going on the same straight line. So
Well, this is what a lot of people say. Behind every great man, there's a great woman, and it's fantastic that the husband and wife team that you have works so well for you, because it just looks fantastic. It's brilliant. It's delicious bread that you make. As anyone in Bath who's eat, especially, well, you'll be guilty of a lot of Bathonians putting on a lot of weight for the almond croissants.
Bread doesn't make you fat.
But the almond croissants do.
Almond croissants are a treat. I always say I'd much rather not eat shit during the week and have one good almond croissant.
That's true.
Of course, if you eat 10 Mars bars a day, it's not good for you. If you eat one a week, it's fine.
You always use the plastic scraper. Which look, for those of you watching, it looks almost like a wind scraper, something you'd use to scrub off your car windscreen when it's frozen up.
That's
but what's the story? Is that one of your inventions, or
scraper is something we use in the bakery all the time? But you know, it's a tool that is so practical, it's so simple, but it just helps. It doesn't stick to the dough, so you use that and you move your dough with it. It's like if you got it's the same as if you're a chef, you get a palette knife to move your steak or in your frying pan, with your fingers. So it's a tool. It's a very simple but very efficient tool.
Yeah, must have. If you're gonna buy Richard's book and start baking your own bread, a bit of a must have. What would you recommend, Richard, if for someone who's just starting out baking bread for the first time by themselves?
So to become a baker, go and knock on your local bakery, the one you really love, and go and spend a day with them, and see if you really like it. And if you show you got passion and skills, you get a job. You never know until you try. So the worst thing you can do is spend a week in a bakery working with bollocks off, and then if you like it, you do more of it. And if you don't like it, then you leave.
What is the most common mistake that you see in a novice baker? If you had to choose one.
Oh my God. It's the most common one is they just fear the dough. They're scared of it.
Yeah.
Exactly, the new alien stuff. So they're scared of wet dough. What they're saying is wet, for me is normal.
Yeah.
So if you fear the dough, you put more flour, you change the recipe, your bread is crap. And that's the basic of the basics. So, and forget what you've learned or seen before. The word kneading, for me, it's just so alien. You go back to Parmentier, that's where it started. They realized that bashing the dough to death, it was too heavy and dense, you couldn't digest it. That's why the technique I use is based from 1790, when they realized that you put more air and more water into your dough. That's where it started. So the bread was more digestible. But it's logical when you do it. It's very hard to explain.
If you were to give one piece of advice to any aspiring small business that's just starting out, or any entrepreneurs out there, about how to run and grow your business, what would it be?
Oh my God, that's such a tough question, because every business is different. Every aspiration people who open a business is different. If you're by yourself, you need some very strong people around you, especially if you're a chef. If you can't be in the kitchen at the front at the same time, you can be the best chef in the world if your service is crap, or vice versa. So you need to have, is there a wife who's going to work with you, or a family member who's going to work with you, somebody you can trust to really run it with you. And I would say probably, like for bread, I talked about it before, is who are you cooking for, or who are you baking for? If it's just your stuff that you like, but actually the people don't like what you're doing, so talk to people, just adapt what you're doing to the people. But at the end of the day, if you don't, you can make the best thing. If you don't say it, there's something wrong somewhere. So you've got to always reevaluate what you're doing and make sure that what you make every day, people like it. In France, I've learned that from an early age. You go to the bakery, and you have 3 bakers on the same street, and you go to one for the croissant, one for the baguette, and the other one for somebody. So you try not to walk in the front of the other with the other bag, so they don't get upset. That's how it used to be.
So chef, what's in your jar?
What's what?
In the jar, what's...
Flour,
Yeah.
yeast, salt,
So standard.
water. Basic white dough.
Okay.
Quick.
Who put this one in there?
What's happening there?
It's a special one, is it? One job yet to do. One job.
It's like your nose, Ash. There you are.
That's what I get all the day long.
I'm saying
That's brilliant. You hold that in your hand, chef. Oh, this is
No,
my
no,
hand.
I'll hold this one.